So, we're really asking you to shift your mindset. We're working at shifting that mindset when looking at a child or another adult and something's happening with their behavior or how they're handling their stress. We might go, what's wrong with you? And ask that person, what is wrong with you? But really, looking back at what's happened in these past few years, looking at what we now know about traumatic experiences in childhood and trauma, we're asking you to shift that question to what's happened to you? What is going on with you? And what's happened in your life? And then even taking a bigger leap to shift to look at what's right with you. What's strong with you? When we can understand neurobiology, the effects of trauma, we can then start building on strategies that are going to help us to develop a more compassionate lens for children, for their families, and for ourselves. In Sources of Strength, we're looking at building communities of strength, looking for a message that we can spread that's of hope, help, and strength. Being inspiring, encouraging, looking for those empowering stories and images, looking for help, knowing how to get help, where to go and ask for help, and then normalizing it. It's okay to ask for help. It's all right to ask for help if you have homework, if you are being harassed, if you are in a mental state that, needs some support. And then the strength comes from both our individual strengths about who we are and how we have experienced the world, and then also strengths from these 8 protective factors that we're going to be talking about here soon. So, focusing on those strengths, reframing maybe our stress and our overwhelm into how can we tap into those strengths. Now, why don't we always have this message of hope, help, and strength? Why do we have such a hard time seeing what's right with others? Well, we have this thing called negativity bias. Our negativity bias has actually helped keep us alive throughout the generations that humans have been here on Earth. But it also gets in our way. We have to have at least 3 positive thoughts to balance out a negative thought. And in research done by John Gottman, he says that we need to have 5 positive thoughts to actually thrive. So our brain is easily looking for all the negative things, all the things that can go wrong. We can jump to it in 1/10 of a second, but it takes probably around 12 seconds for us to calm our nervous system down and move into more of a positive aspect. So it's taking that time to just look for those positives, not to be Pollyanna, not to override all of the trauma and things that have happened in our lives, but to say, too, there are also good things that are happening in our lives. The Sources of Strengths has a strength wheel. And on that strength wheel, there's 8 protective factors. You can see that this is both in English and in Spanish. They have multitude of different languages that you can do, or that the wheel comes in. But with Sources of Strength, there's these 8. We're going to quickly go over the 8 different protective factors. So family support, up there in the orange. Family support is whether it's your immediate family, your extended family, or maybe it's a family of choice. But these are people who support and care and nurture us. Positive friends in the yellow. Those are our friends that lift us up. They make us laugh. They're honest with us and they're there for us when we need them. Mentors in the green are people who are cheering us on in life. They listen to what we need. They help us learn new things, and then they help us to navigate the ups and the downs within life. Healthy activities. Maybe you like to garden, spend time with your pets or your animals, play video games. It can be a healthy activity as long as that you're doing these things in moderation. Listening to music, playing to music, all of these are healthy activities that we can choose to do. Generosity, an act of kindness towards others and ourselves in big and small ways can really impact how we feel. We can be generous with money, with resources, with skills, with power, with attention, with those who have experienced traumatic events. We can be generous in a really powerful way. And generosity is kind of those things that can help us to fill our soul. Spirituality, that can include places, people, practices. It's things that can lift up our spirit and connect us to something bigger than ourselves. It could be things like nature. Who can't look at the sunset and see something that is connected to something maybe larger than ourselves? The blue, the kind of aqua blue there, is physical health. That's the way that we care for our bodies on a regular basis, as well as how we care for them when we're sick or hurt or need medical attention. Getting plenty of water, eating healthy, taking showers, sleeping, all of these things, taking medication as needed, are all parts of our physical health. And then mental health, it's not the absence of illness, but rather it's the presence and practice of strengths and strategies that contribute to our well being. So, this could be a list of proactive things that you can do in response to the stressors. It could be those soul snacks that we talked about in a previous section. It could be mindfulness that you might do, or journaling, or walking, or maybe going to a mental health professional with therapy. All of these things can have a huge impact on our mental health and what we do with those emotions that we have, those big emotions that we have: anger, anxiety, sadness. When you feel those in your body, what helps you to become calm? So, going back to that worksheet that I gave you about when you're becoming triggered with those maybe emotions or things that are setting you off, what can you do that can help you to be calm, to connect, and to cope with that stress? There's also been a lot of research now done around positive childhood experiences. So there's 7 different positive childhood experiences, and they've shown that when these childhood experiences happen, it mitigates the adverse childhood experiences. One of the things I want you to notice as you read through this list of the 7 that they've done research around is that none of these cost money. They are all things that can be done, that are simple connections, listening, having traditions, having adults take an interest in children, being supported by your friends and your families. So, the 7 positive childhood experiences are really a huge thing that we can offer to the children in our lives. In our next session, we'll be talking about different strategies that you can use.